Good morning, everyone. Uh, my name is Chris Bucher. I've been a commercial photographer for over 25 years. I call myself a commercial photographer because I largely work with businesses and advertising agencies to create advertising, marketing, and public relations material for these clients. Living in Indianapolis, there's a lot of motorsports, and I've had the opportunity with a good number of teams, sponsors, fabricators, and drivers over the years. As I was looking for some new challenges in my work about 5 years ago, I set out to actually start shooting trackside and creating images for many of the same clients, not just in the studio, but also at the track. And that's what got me here and working with Liz.
Hi, everyone. I've worked in racing for my entire professional career. I started at 18 years old as an intern for an IndyCar team called Bryan Herta Autosport, which then turned into a full-time position for almost 5 years, where I then moved to another IndyCar team called Harding Steinbrenner Racing. And now I'm at Coforce, which is a marketing agency in Indianapolis that specializes in motorsports.
Well, we all live in a fast-paced, immediate gratification, social media-driven world. Information, data, entertainment is all expected to be delivered immediately. It wasn't always so. Immediate, just 150 years ago, meant that Abraham Lincoln's inaugural address took the record time of 6 days to get from Nebraska to California. Now we're expected to have content uploaded in real time. Today, we're going to look at how Liz and I work through image making and content creating using all the tools we have to help our clients from trackside while cars are speeding by at 200 miles an hour. So it was only just a few years ago that the thought of getting high-res photo from a digital camera out to the internet was still a bit of a challenge. You had to get the photos to a computer and then out to the web. There was no easy and reliable way to get a photo to a mobile device. In 2017, I was assigned to get a photo of the winning car at the finish line of the Indy 500 to the social media manager of the title sponsor of the Indy 500, which was Pengrade Motor Oil. And I had to do it immediately after the win. So I had to figure out how to Wi-Fi a photo from my camera to my phone, and then she had to stand next to me with her laptop so she could airdrop. And airdrop was really sketchy technology at the time. Not sketchy, but very new. And they had to be super close. And I was doing it from an iPhone like 5. So it was very early technology. And the cell and Wi-Fi traffic was completely jammed up. Nothing could get through. And she might have even had to run over to the media center so she could actually plug into the internet there to get the photo uploaded. The situation was similar again in 2019, where my client, Simon Pagenaud, ended up winning the 500. We did much the same thing. This wasn't the best photo from his win, but it was the one that we were able to get up into social media the fastest. This got approximately 60,000 likes in the first 2 minutes after it was posted.
Which is still baffling to me. It's so impressive. And so we capture and share moments that are to be shared with clients for social media, print media, websites, marketing materials, and much more. So on our slide, on the left is for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The middle is a photo for Prime 47 that's showcased at the Indianapolis airport. And to the right is for a Pengrade promotion, which would be for a variety of social media, print media, and other purposes. So these moments are to be shared with our clients for social media purposes, print media, websites, marketing materials instantly. And well, this doesn't happen at the spur of the moment. We have to communicate with our clients in order to plan and strategize with an entire team to put together what our clients wanted. And this includes a variety of experts on a video side, a photo side, graphic design, a digital team in order to successfully plan and execute the project. So the far left and right are promotional pieces that would be printed out for brochures, signage, or even posted digitally on a website or for social media. The middle is an example of a photo that Chris took when he was leaving the Indianapolis terminal. These are examples of how photos and a plan can showcase a variety of purposes for promoting an event, a restaurant, or even products like oil.
So we have to capture a moment in time and in real time and get it out to the world. This photo is of a young driver in victory circle for his first IndyCar win. It took a lot of teamwork and more than just a little luck just to finish. In many ways, it's very similar to what we do. We prepare, we work together, we use all the tools we have to help our client win in the marketplace. In many cases, we're contractually obligated to deliver content for our clients in a specified amount of time. And those words in the contracts are words like minutes, immediately, in real time. Not every single photo I take must be moved online, uploaded, etc. that fast. But important images that tell a story and that help set the stage for the event are the ones that get moved immediately. I do have one client that is very specific that at the end of the first practice session where his car is on track, I need to get their team an image or a few images immediately after the first session. Immediately, so that they are able to make a post about what happened in that session and then start announcing the events, etc., for the rest of the weekend on social media. One thing that you might notice is that all three of these images are in a vertical or portrait orientation. Orientation is one of the things that I have to be especially mindful of. It's very typical that photographers shoot horizontal images. In motorsports especially, the cars are wide, the tracks, the scenarios, everything, even how the cameras work themselves, that lend themselves to being horizontal. Yet social media is increasingly vertical. Between Instagram stories, TikTok, Reels, etc., even just how our mobile devices work, we must create images that fit that format, even when it isn't necessarily natural.
So like Chris said, we live in an ever-changing world where we have to stay in the know and what is popular, whether that be digital or print. And in order to assist clients with staying relevant, we need to sort out what platforms need the most attention and how to maximize those platforms with the correct content. That means that I need to plan out, do we need a horizontal photo? Do we need a vertical photo? Do we need space for a graphic element? Do we need logos, fonts? It can go on. And that's because it's more than just social media. And especially nowadays where we are having a huge focus on, and hopefully you guys are like me, who you like TikTok and Instagram Reels. And that's where you can get a lot of engagements. And engagement is something that I'm going to talk to in a second to talk about how that can be something that goes into the data and what we need to look at and how that correlates with an exciting platform. Here's some more examples of vertical media that we would use for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and Instagram Stories. So it's more than just social media. What's changed? Well, brands, sponsors, teams, businesses, and et cetera have learned the importance of social engagement. Over the past decade, companies are investing in marketing agencies that include a video department, photographers, social media experts, and brand development teams in order to grow their businesses exponentially. We're seeing athletes, CEOs, race car drivers, social media influencers, and more individuals creating brands through social media. Just like Chip Ganassi racing IndyCar driver Alex Palou, who's photographed on the right. Their social media presence heavily relies on marketing agencies capturing specific video and photo content that is usually planned out weeks prior to the event in order to make sure that their photo needs are met. So this needs to be it could be a crisp and clean photo of their car, a ribbon cutting ceremony, photo of the CEO, or as vague as, hey, Chris, can you get a cool photo of me in the moment? And in the moment, these could be, if I'm a driver, getting in and out of my car. It could be celebrating a pole victory. It could be a podium ceremony with me and my team and my team owner, partners. It could be anything. And that's where someone like Chris needs to get creative because those photos do the best on social media. So when I'm at a race and Chris is at the same race as I'm at, I might ask him to send me these photos in a vertical or portrait orientation that can be used for Instagram stories and Instagram Reels. because my focus that weekend might be that I want to grow my Instagram audience organically. And through my data, I know that when we post more of these Instagram stories and reels in a vertical fashion, that we will grow our audience. So how do I know this data? Well, I'm going to walk you through how I find this information and why we heavily rely on social media data for our clients. So I know I'm in marketing, but I do look at a lot of data and graphs and things, but it's not too complex. Don't worry if you don't like math like I didn't when I was in high school. But we utilize social media that showcases the specific posts, engagement, the interactions, impressions, and more that can show why a particular social platform is doing well and can actually help me when I should post and what to post. So you'll see on the chart that a large portion, that right here, there's a heavy amount of engagements in January. And that's because the client that we're showing this data is from a IMSA WeatherTech sports car team that competes in a 24-hour endurance race, and that race is in January. And then they have quite a few races where they actually won in April, May, and June, which is why the engagement level is pretty high in that point, because a lot of people are interacting when the team is winning because it's exciting. And then you'll see that we have a little bit, couple of dips. They have another race win in August, and then they have they announced their driver lineup for the 2023 season at the end of October. So you'll see on here that when I'm looking at this data, I can break it down and explain it to my client why they have a significantly higher number of engagement and interactions during periods and when nothing's going on in February. That's why. So we could take that data and that could sort us to figure out how we're going to make that plan and still have a high engagement rate during these low months. On here, you'll see that we have impressions throughout the whole year, which is about 7.7 million impressions, which is a 47.6%, almost 50% more impressions than this time last year. So that means that I'm doing my job right if they're getting such significantly high numbers compared to the year before. In engagements, we have a 76.2% higher engagement rate than last year at this period, and 12.4% more post clicks. So you never want to have a downward arrow, but sometimes that happens. But that's why I have the data to explain why it might be a lower or higher compared to the year before. And on here, we have our audience growth for one of our other clients. And on here, this is really important because I can see what our competitors are doing as well. So I use a platform called Sprout Social, which is similar to something like a Meltwater or a Cision, if you're learning about this in any marketing classes. And basically, I am able to input a variety of different competitors, and then I can see if if we're doing the same, better, or if we need to step up our game to do a better job with our social. So on here is an example of some more data that I looked at based on a specific post. And as of right now, I can see that all of these are Instagram Reels that get the highest number of engagements. So that could be a variety of video, of photo. And so that's why when I'm talking to Chris, I want some vertical orientation photos, because the 3 best posts of the year were actually Instagram Reels that also lived on our TikTok channels. So that shows that I can tell our clients who might be an older generation and not understand video or TikTok that we should definitely have more time spending on creating these videos. And on here are just some other examples of what I do digitally. We have in the middle, it's a press release that we send out to the media. So that's something that is more like an article that we write and share on social media. Combination of a neat photo with a cheeky caption, and then some more. These are actually photos that Chris took. He's so good. And then they have a variety of we have the Simon Pagenaud posts that did extremely well because of speed. So on here, this is me to the right. I'm not watching TikToks, I swear, but I can share that through these moments and through my work with my company's clients, I'm experiencing these once in a lifetime moments. But while the team, drivers, sponsors, and fans celebrate, my role is to capture and post these experiences on my phone, because I know it will receive the best engagement right after checkered flag. This is why seconds after an exciting moment happens in live events, that someone like me is capturing the content and posting almost immediately after, because that is when the engagement is highest. This goes back to the story that Chris was telling at the beginning of our presentation, where the Pengrade social media manager was stationed right next to him. So then she could post the photo seconds after the checkered flag. And right here is an example of a video that I took. And I don't think I can share it right now with because it might lag a little bit. But basically, it's me recording the team celebrating as their car crosses the start-finish line after 24 hours of racing. And it was an incredibly exciting race down to the finish. And so my team, I knew I needed to not bask in the glory and celebrate with them. I needed to just capture it on my phone. And sometimes I just don't have time to get someone like a Chris to get these crisp and clean photos. And I just needed to take it on my phone. So for me, my phone is my greatest tool. And it is one of the most efficient ways to get something out incredibly quick, because not only is speed important on a racetrack, but also in the social media and digital world.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that real quick, Liz. Not only a lot of times it's because I'm doing something else. I can only be in one place at a time, sadly. So in my role as a photographer, I do capture images, but I'm also a documentarian, a storyteller, and a problem solver. This photo is of a young driver from what is called Road to Indy. This is a ladder series that develops younger drivers and helps them move up each rung of the ladder towards IndyCar. And as they get faster, in increasingly faster cars. I captured this photo at the first race of the season, right after he made a huge mistake. And he knew it, and it cost him a race win. And he was obviously completely gutted at the moment. At the time, it wasn't a particularly important photo, but it documented this very dramatic and traumatic moment in the season and in his career. After 10 race weekends over the course of 5 months, he was able to claw back from that heartbreak and drive his way to a season championship. Most importantly, that moves him up the ladder to Indy Lights, just one step from IndyCar. And I think if we go to the next, there we go. We've got, he became the champion. And Liz, I added this, and so I'm going to give this to you.
All right. Well, and what's so great about those photos that I went through pretty quickly is that it shares the story of what a race car driver goes throughout the series and the season, which is months long. And so this is something that we found really interesting, because one of my coworkers, Adam Cosgrove, he was the account manager on this account. And he spends a lot of his time researching and scrolling through social media to figure out what is something that he can be, that's with what's popular and trendy at the moment, and put that into work. And so he remembered that Chris had taken this photo at one of the first races of the season where Christian Rasmussen was just devastated. And so one of the trends, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, where it was how it started and then arrow, how it ended. And this was one of the highest performing posts for our client, because it was not only trendy and in the moment, but also shared and really expressed the story of how a race car driver goes through so many emotions during a season. And Christian Rasmussen was the driver that should have won early on in the season, but he had some situations that are out of his control, or it can be a mistake. And you can see how just gutted and heartbreaking these moments can be. But then how it ended, obviously for him, Christian Rasmussen is in Indy Lights right now and doing quite well. And it was almost like a sigh of relief, and that's captured in this photo. So now I'm going to channel into what makes a race weekend work and live events. And this is very similar to a concert, to a festival, to a lot of different types of live events. And it starts off with a very overwhelming schedule. And it's really important for people like Chris and for me, because this creates the planning, the framework for our planning and strategizing. And it determines like what I should post, if we have announcements, if we have any important needs for the team to share on social media. So on here, when I'm working, let's say an IndyCar event, I am just looking at the royal blue colors. So I'm going to zoom in and you'll see that it's not as overwhelming if you're looking at the specific color that with the series that you're working for. But if I'm Chris, who covers almost all of the series that compete on a race weekend, he needs to look at the light blue, the black, the royal blue, the red, and then he can figure out where he needs to be during the race weekend. Does he need to be in pit lane covering because it's going to tie into what his client needs in a different series right after this race session? Or should he be on track? Or should he get a snack and get a bathroom break? Or should he go and be in the media center uploading photos and what he's in and editing them, because he needs to get and share these photos with the client, because the client might not get it if Chris is having a snack or out in the middle of turn 5 at Road America, which is like a 4-mile walk. So it's a lot of planning that goes into place. So then what I use is I take that schedule and I create a content calendar. So a content calendar is very common in the digital strategy world, because this is my basically my framework for what I will post on social media. Although a race weekend, live events are entirely unpredictable, I can go and I can make a content calendar and then have different examples of what I know the team wants me to post, whether that's sharing where their merchandise tent is, or a big announcement they might have, a driver meet and greet, autograph sessions, which are set in stone. But then what I can also do is I can come up with a few variations of a social post. So then I know right when the checkered flag waves that if they did really well, I already have a crafted social post that's ready to go. If they had an okay race weekend, or if they, let's say, crashed out early or had a really poor weekend. And so what I do is I share this content calendar weeks before the actual event. And this is sent to our client. And then what they'll do is they'll share it with their partners, with the team owner, sometimes the drivers, and then that's approved. And so once that's approved, what I can do is something like this. This is the green flag post that I had was already approved weeks in advance. So then when you have the chaos of a race weekend happening, I still know what I have solidified already. And then right here, you can see this is an example of a scheduled out post that I'll have before the event even starts, because one item that happens on these race weekends when Chris is at turn 8 at a 4-mile track that's in the middle of the woods, service is very poor. So what I have to do is I have to get as much prepared and prepped as possible. So for example, my client competes in the Rolex 24 at Daytona, and this is a race of stamina, speed, and hard work. And so it's important to showcase how the car looks and survives as the event progresses. So this is something that I would ask Chris to take different photos throughout the day and different things like that, which is something that is important for someone like Chris to have that planning, where we have a shot list where I'm wanting him to get exactly what my client needs and what I need.
Hey, Liz,
yeah,
we're going to skip the poll, and I'm going to skip this session and just go to the last section.
All right.
So in 2022, we had the pleasure working with a lot of teams that did a lot of winning this year. The teams and drivers that we worked for had a number of important pole positions, race wins, a championship over the course of 2022. This is so important for all of us because it allows our teams, their sponsors and partners to get even more time in the spotlight. And in the end, it helps us grow our business as well. That time in the spotlight means that more people get to see those brands, their logos, their messages, and that in turn can mean additional partner and sponsor involvement and financial input. These podium photos are vital. So for those sponsors and partners, more views and impressions mean more customers and brand recognition. And when there's important and record-breaking events, it is even more important. We need to deliver all this in the moment. These photos say we're winners, and our success will help you even more with your business, and you'll want to work with us. And importantly, this helps connect real people with the drivers, teams, and those sponsors. Nowhere is this more important than the biggest event in all of motorsports, the Indy 500. Our client won the Indy 500 this year, which put me right at the front of the podium for all the celebration. On the Coforce team's biggest day of the year, myself and our team are covering 8 clients in some fashion, which covers 24 of the 33 cars, including 11 of the first 12 starters. We arrived around 6, but we typically don't shoot a lot of hospitality and that kind of stuff until around 8. And the excitement for me really gets started when the drivers start coming out to the cars and they really begin the TV presentation and all that kind of stuff. So we have some pictures of the team coming out, doing the introductions. I had a lot of time focused on Scott Dixon, Alex Palou. They were up at the front. They were the favorites to win the race. But as we know, Marcus Ericsson won the race. So luckily I got a lot of pictures of Marcus too. And even at one point we realized that Scott Dixon and Alex had led 142 of the 200 laps. And I got a little nervous when Marcus got in the lead because I thought, do I have enough images of him? In the end, I had plenty of great pictures of Marcus during the race in the pits as he hung close. And he was able to capitalize on the situation in the last 25 laps. I really like to show the car in its environment, to show the important part of these moments in its place in time and how that's this moment in sports history. As we get to Victory Circle, the car isn't moving, but the moment up on that podium is so short and the pressure is so immense that it's even more important to us. It's so stressful and exciting. And I think next year I'm actually going to capture my heart rate data next year and see how fast my heart rate gets, even though I'm just standing there taking photos. As fast as I could shoot photos in Victory Circle this year, I would start uploading these photos during any pause in the action to my phone and then try and airdrop text, or even hand the phone to people that needed the images. These images are very special to me, and there are very few of us that are allowed to be up there at that time, and I was very honored to be part of it. We ended up putting in about a 13-hour day, and I shot about 15,000 photos. I think Liz can discuss more about how the images get used and what the metrics are for their use.
So like Chris said, these photos are so special, and not everyone gets an opportunity to be up in Victory Lane to get these photos. So it's people like me who need to make sure that we're using these photos to make sure that they're shared to the world. So he's taking these amazing photos, and my job is to use these to create a story, to create on social media and with the media in order to bring light to what is going on behind the scenes with our clients. So during this year's Indianapolis 500, Chris, who's representing Coforce, was texting our client contact at Chip Ganassi Racing while standing on victory podium at the Indy 500. For context, let me tell you how quick all of this happened. So Chris sent these photos at 3:56 p.m. and they were sent from victory podium at IMS to CGR. At 4 p.m., all the images were posted on all of their social channels. So they were able to post professional photos in real time across all of their channels almost instantly. And this is a similar approach to what we do on race weekends, where we airdrop and text photos in the moment. And then once the commotion of the race dies down, then these photos are uploaded to a platform like Google Drive or Dropbox. But in the moment, these photos are like gold. And it's like gold because, like I said before, these are uploaded instantly, and that's when you get these incredible engagements. So that's what someone like me is looking at, is that I know if we're posting right away, we're going to get some really high numbers. So it's one of those where we had they had over 1.5 million impressions and 87,000 engagements. And this is a huge number for the team's engagements and interactions because it really showcases how important the speed of a situation is. I wouldn't be able to do my job without people like Chris, and Chris wouldn't be able to share his photos to the masses without people like me. And together we make a great team. So
Indeed.
We just wanted to thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and hope you enjoyed the speedy ride. And we know we covered a lot in a very short time. So we can go through and see if anyone has any questions. I think we have a few minutes left.
There are a ton of questions. I'm going to go through them real quick, if that's okay, what I can. I'm going to start from the bottom. The milk can. That's history. Do your research. I can't, it's too long of an answer. I'm going to go up. How do you know when to take that? That's too long. What camera do I recommend? I recommend the camera that works best for you. I would, and this will kind of go to one of the other ones. I would go to Robert's camera in Indianapolis and talk to them about what camera you should get. Do you charge them for the pics? Absolutely. This is our job. There are a lot of money that has to happen. This is our job. We do this for our work. What cameras use these photos? I usually take Nikons. I've been using Nikon cameras since the 80s. But people on our team use Sony, Canon, and Olympus. Whatever does the job for them. How are the pictures not blurry since they go so fast? Hold on, where did that go? The shutter speed. The confetti is just kind of coming around. I would say if I'm shooting a thing like we see here on the screen, that is probably taken at 1/200th of a second, maybe 1/250th of a second. So that will definitely stop the action of the confetti. It's just kind of floating there. If we go back to one of the last photos of Marcus's car in front of the podium, that was probably taken at like a 20th of a second or a 15th of a second. That's why we see and I'm moving with the car. So the car is sharp, but all the environment is going quickly and is blurred. As far as, we got 5 extra minutes of Q&A.
Oh,
I think, who is the most famous racer you have taken a picture of? I don't know about you, Liz, but mine's Mario Andretti.
no, there you go.
Yeah.
I think I have some photos of Mario Andretti as well.
Yeah. How much storage does a single one of these photos take up? I think I use a condensed. I don't know what exactly the term is. I shoot both a RAW photo file and a JPEG file. The JPEG is about 6 megabytes. The RAW file is between 20 and 40, depending on which camera. So sometimes we don't ever even get to the RAWs because we're in such a hurry. We just use the JPEG, but we always catalog them and store them in our photo library. So if we need them again, we'll have that RAW file. Liz, I think you should talk about how do you go about getting clients?
Ooh, yeah. Well, so just a backstory on Coforce. Our CEO is a former race car driver in the Road to Indy series. So he has plenty of connections in racing because he came from England when he was in his teens. And so now he's in his late 30s. So that's about 20 years of connections that he's been making. And it's all connections. And that's how a lot of marketing, photography, video, we do some engagement and promotion on our social channels, on our company channels, but really it's a lot of just word of mouth. And that's how I actually came on board to Coforce. And a lot of the times it's how we get employees, but also how you get clients. It could be as simple, you went from the media center to pit lane and you start talking with someone, and It could be a marketing manager at a race team, and they say, hey, I heard you guys make really cool videos. We need to make one for one of our new partners. Or it could be a race car driver like Simon Pagenaud coming up to us being like, hey, I need help with my brand in social media. Can you guys help me? So a lot of that is just basically connections and not a ton of outreach, but if we wanted to branch out more outside of the racing world, we would need to do more outreach that way.
I have a little bit of an echo, so sorry. Everything that Liz said is 100% correct. I would even say in my almost 30 years of doing this, that is 100% how I've gotten all my clients. Word of mouth, networking, doing a good job, following up, making sure that you like your clients and that they like you, is so important in virtually any business.
Well, one of the questions that I'm going through, look, this says, when are the things the most stressful during the workday? And does the job ever cause you much stress? And I think if we go back in your head to that schedule that I showed and how there's no time for breaks and you're having to do a lot of pre-strategizing before the event, and then knowing that things can go wrong. I had like a ping of anxiety when Chris said that he had all these photos of Alex Palou or Scott Dixon and was prepared for them to win because it was pretty obvious that one of them would win. And then if I'm a digital strategist, I already have all of my captions planned out with one of them winning, and it's probably something that I spent a lot of time on and was cheeky and funny, and I loved it and it was approved. But then I might not have had anything planned for Marcus Ericsson because he qualified behind the guys, and these things happen. Or it could be reversed, where I was on my previous IndyCar team. My driver, he was a rookie and wasn't doing too well, but he was learning. And then it happened that the leader crashed and he was going to win the race. And I was in the middle of pit lane reading the instructions of what to do in the podium ceremony and where I need to go and where I need to take this driver who's 18 years old. And I had never been more stressed in my life, because what happens is when you're like the social media or the PR manager, everyone looks at you and says, all right, Liz, what are we supposed to do? And I'm like, well, it says I'm supposed to do this. And everything went fine, but that was definitely one of the most stressful moments because I was not prepared for that, because I was not expecting my team to win, which was a good thing. But I guess it comes down to when something that you're not expecting happens.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to go to that next question, which was, how did you take the photo of the car being clear and everything else being blurry? I talked about it a few minutes ago. It's called panning. And so you move along with the car at a slower shutter speed. And that will kind of help one of the other questions that talk about hints for shooting cars, is probably a slower shutter speed than you would think. You're trying to capture that motion by keeping the car sharp and the rest of everything blurry. It's called panning. Man, these are pretty in-depth questions that I'm giving 10 seconds to. Sorry.
Well, and I think, Chris, it's gonna close out on us in less than a minute.
Very good. Oh, so I'm going to answer one more thing.
Okay.
The racing, the fire suit that's here, that is Charlie Kimball's 2019 Indy 500 fire suit. And that was given to me at the end of the 2019 season by Charlie for a number of reasons, and not the least of which is that he is one of the greatest human beings I know. And I've done a lot of work with him. So he gave me that.
He's a good guy.
He's my buddy.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for watching our presentation. And we hope that you have
thank you.
a lot more learnings. I know you have quite a few more sessions to watch. So we will see you all later.
Thank you.